Hello, everybody. Today is the 47th day of the Ukraine war. Now Russia has withdrawn its troops from the Kyiv region to Donbas, about 40,000 of them. So how will the coming Battle of Donbas go? My viewpoint is that it will probably end up in a stalemate. Here is my analysis. We have to say the current Russian war plan is much better than the previous one. The previous one was to take Kyiv, which was very impractical and very badly planned. So the Russians actually they are learning quickly. This plan is much better. Why? Because it's more focused and the terrain, this Donbas region is less wooded and more open. It's better for the movement of mechanized troops of Russia. So it's better. So how will it likely go? So we also need to note that the Ukrainian troops in the Donbas region are the best troops, the best professional troops, best trained with best equipment, and with most experience. Is about 60,000 Ukrainian regular troops and a large number of reservists. So this battle is going to be tough and long. Let's first talk about the Russian strategy. The strategy is very likely to encircle part of Ukrainian troops in this Donbas region. So how large is this encirclement? We don't really know. But I think this phase can be divided into some smaller phases. This means the Russians, they should launch offensives from both sides. That means north-south and south-north. This makes sense. But they can do it from various locations. The most likely route so far is from Izium, from Slovyansk, then to Donetsk. It's not a large encirclement, a small encirclement. So if Russia succeeded in encirclement, cut off part of the Ukrainian troops in Donbas, it will be a very bad situation for Ukraine. But it's very hard to achieve. Why? Because, as I said, Ukrainians have been digging up for years in this region, and they sent their best troops here. So this battle will probably last longer than the first phase. And neither side is going to win easily. Why? I don't think this time Russia will fail this Battle of Donbas like the Battle of Kyiv, because this plan is much better and they are more focused and also about the terrain. On the other hand, I don't think Russians are going to make a lot of gains like what they did in the south, like they took Kherson and Melitopol. It won't be that easy because the south of Ukraine is a weak point of the Ukrainian defense, but the east part is not. So it's going to be a very fierce, brutal, and lasting fight. Probably just to and froing, just siege, counter siege, attack, counter attack from both parts. Russia has more troops here, but Ukraine can also deploy more troops here. And at the same time, Ukraine has been receiving military supplies from NATO and the European countries. And how about, I say, if Russia wins this battle, it will be very bad for Ukraine situation. But Ukraine can still survive and counterattack, but temporarily it will be bad. And Russia then will expand its territory. This is not all what they want. But if Russia fails this plan, I think then it won't have much more resources to launch another big-scale campaign. Then our situation will remain calm for quite a while. Maybe the two parties will make some progress in the negotiation. But it's more likely to end up in a stalemate because, as I said, Russia get a better plan, more firepower, but Ukraine has been preparing in this region for a long time. It's got its best troops here, and it's receiving many weapons from the West. So now there are several key points. First is about the supply line. Now the Russia's supply line is shorter and easier to maintain, but the Ukrainian supply line is longer. I mean, compared with the Battle of Kyiv, because Ukraine receives military supplies from Poland and to Lviv to Kyiv is about more than 1,000 kilometers. So it's critical for Ukraine to maintain the safety of the supply line. This supply line just to ensure that the equipment, ammunition can reach Donbas. Another thing is about strategic facilities. Ukraine also need to pay attention to these facilities. Now Russia has area superiority, so we can see Ukraine needs some air defense systems and airplanes. The Ukraine's biggest advantage is morale. So Ukraine soldiers, they know what are they doing. They're fighting for their homeland, the survival of their country. If they win a war, their family members can return to Ukraine just from neighboring countries. So they are very clear what they are doing, but we cannot say that for Russian soldiers. This is the biggest advantage of Ukraine, and many countries are helping Ukraine. This is a big advantage. The disadvantage of Ukraine is that it lacks firepower, and in this case, it's probably outnumbered by Russians, and the terrain is not very good. There are not many cities here in this region, not many big cities, and it is open, not very much wooded. So I think this can be a much more even battle than the Battle of Kyiv. This is just my opinion.